Monitoring refers to keeping track of all project-related metrics or indicators. Remember, these indicators are the only specified indicators, not all the metrics that you monitor. There are specific metrics of a project that you should monitor as defined by your logical framework. Therefore, monitoring is a continuous process of gathering data, analyzing, and reporting on specified indicators for decision making. Monitoring involves internal staff and it's a continuous process. This means monitoring is done routinely throughout the project from the start to the end. The result of monitoring may trigger action or replanning. Triggering action means taking steps to either rectify a situation or prevent the occurrence of the same in future. And through taking these actions, you will be now forced to replan so that your changes can be accommodated. We continuously monitor context, activities, and the results. The context is the external environment under which the project is operating. Remember, monitoring this environment is very key because it can affect your project activities and the results. Activities refers to service that project provide to realize objectives. Result refers to deliverable or the change in behavior or attitudes that are realized as a result of project activities. And they should be monitored and recorded. Monitoring allows result, processes, and experiences to be documented and used as a basis to steer decision-making and learning process. The main purpose of conducting monitoring include to learn from experience to improve practices and activities in the future, to have internal and external accountability of the resources used and the results obtained, to make informed decisions on the future of the initiative, and finally, to promote empowerment of beneficiaries of the initiative or the project. M&E system refer to all the indicators, tools, and the processes that will use to measure if a program has been implemented according to the plan and is having the desired results. The M&E plan describes the M&E system. If you want to understand the M&E system, you just explore the M&E plan, and this plan gives the details of all the indicators that will be used to measure the success of the project, the tools that are intended to be used, and the standard operating procedures and processes that the project intends to apply. And all these are what make up monitoring and evaluation system. The M&E system helps organizations assess and manage performances so that the right improvement can be made. Through this system, you are able to gather the necessary data and make decisions on the performance of the project. And where we identify some gaps, you adjust your program to be able to perform better when you've addressed such challenges. And also it offers an opportunity for future improvement. After discussing meaning of monitoring and evaluation system, it is important at this point to highlight various components that make up M&E system. In any organization, there must be an M&E unit or function. And this function is not a must that is a full department. It can be even a desk where we have one M&E specialist who will be guiding organization on monitoring and evaluation matters. Another component is M&E staff. Note that having a M&E unit is not enough. There must be a human capital for them to work and facilitate the M&E work. You must also have M&E framework and logical framework. We'll discuss the logical framework in our next session. where you discuss in details what it entails, what it involves, and the various elements that are covered by logical framework. You have also M&E plan. Remember, as I said earlier, M&E plan outlines all the monitoring and evaluation system components. You must have also data collection and management system. These include the softwares and the standard operating procedures and all the processes that are used to collect and manage data. Information dissemination system must also be there. After analyzing the data, writing report, this information needs to be disseminated to various consumers or stakeholders. Therefore, you need to have a system that allows dissemination of M&E information. This is a part of monitoring and evaluation system. All these components are at high level and they cover specifics at a lower level, including the softwares, the processes, standard operating procedures, and any other set standards that form the part of monitoring and evaluation system. Evaluation criteria refer to the standards or benchmarks that are used to perform evaluation. Evaluation criteria set the values and the framework that will guide an evaluation. They provide a framework that helps to select the main evaluation questions, undertake analysis, and organize conclusion drawings from findings. In general, you have 5 criteria that are used in evaluation. Number 1 is relevance. This refers to extent to which the objective of development intervention are consistent with the beneficiaries' requirements, country needs, global priorities, and the partners or donor policies. There are several questions that you must ask yourself when dealing with relevance. You ask yourself questions such as, was a need analysis carried out in which the need of men, women, boys, and girls were identified? Did the intervention take into account the livelihood and capacities of the target group? Were the interventions in some cases more relevant and more appropriate than in other cases? By asking yourself these questions around the relevance, you'll be able to formulate the questions that will capture the relevance of the intervention or the project. Another criteria is effectiveness. The effectiveness is the extent to which the development intervention's objectives were achieved or are expected to be achieved, taking into account their relative importance. To assess effectiveness, we ask questions such as, how big is the effectiveness or impact of the project compared to the objective planned? That is, you compare results and what was planned. Did the intervention reach the target population? Or have goods been delivered or offered at the right time according to the main target group? So these are some of the questions that you ask yourself when designing the evaluation questionnaire to measure the effectiveness of the intervention. Another criteria is efficiency. And efficiency is a measure of how economically resources are converted to results. And these resources include fund, expertise, time, etc. The cost effectiveness of transforming the means into results. And some of the questions that you ask yourself when dealing with efficiency are the relationship between input of resources and result achieved appropriate and justifiable. What is the cost-benefit ratio? To what extent have individual resources been used economically? And are there any alternative for achieving the same result with less input or funds? Generally, here we are assessing value for money, how resources have been converted into results. Another criteria that is commonly used is impact. And impact is the positive and the negative, primary and secondary long-term effect produced by a development intervention, either directly or indirectly, and it can be either intended or unintended results. So when assessing impact, you ask yourself questions such as, what has happened as a result of the program or project? What real difference has the activity made to the beneficiaries? How many people have been affected? Positive and negative intended and unintended effects that the project has brought about. So these are some of the questions that you ask yourself when designing a questionnaire for evaluation, and they help you capture the impact of that specific project that you are evaluating. Another criteria that is used is sustainability aspect. And sustainability is the continuation of benefit from a development intervention after major development assistance has been completed. What are these benefits people are continuing to receive even after the project has ended? And some of the questions that will help you design questions that will help in measuring sustainability are: to what extent will activity result effect be expected to continue after donor intervention has ended? To what extent does the intervention reflect on and take into account factors which by experience have a major influence on sustainability, like partnership, economic, ecological, social, and also cultural aspect? And how self-supporting in particular is the assistant local counterpart? And using all these criteria, you can be able to come up with the evaluation questionnaire that is comprehensive and will help you evaluate your project effectively. Evaluation is the periodic assessment of the design, implementation, and results. That is, outcome and impact of an ongoing or completed development intervention. Therefore, this means evaluation occurs at periodic, not continuous, at a certain specified time when you have completed a certain milestone. That way you can do evaluation for that project. The aim is to determine the relevance of fulfillment of objectives, development efficiency, effectiveness, and sustainability. An evaluation should provide information that is credible and useful, enabling the incorporation of lessons learned into the decision-making process. It is a systematic way of learning from experience to improve current activities and promote better planning for the future actions. It helps answer the question, what have we achieved and what impact have we had? So it's like a summative way of evaluating the whole work that you have been doing throughout that period to determine whether you have been having any impact or achievements. Now we are at the end of this section. And the question is, who should be involved in M&E activities? Every project staff should take part in monitoring and evaluation activities. For many years, non-M&E staff have been avoiding involvement in M&E activities. And for any project to succeed, all the staff members should be involved and take part in M&E activities. Remember, M&E can be structured, the formal one, where you have specific tools, and in this case, maybe M&E staff are mostly involved, and it can be informal and structured, where you visit the project site and take some notes, talk with the beneficiaries, record some issues. Every project staff can take part in this. It doesn't require any expertise there to gather some key information. And that's why I'm emphasizing every staff to be part of M&E key contact or person who can help in gathering M&E information. It should be noted that monitoring and evaluation work should not be left out to the M&E team only. So be part of the M&E, even if you are project officer, you are program manager, help in gathering key information that will inform the session. And all project team members are required to support and participate, and also to have knowledge of M&E. If you are project officer, if you are technical expertise in that project, ensure you have at least basics of M&E so that you can help in gathering and reporting some issues, reporting feedback from beneficiaries, and also suggestions on how to improve project and so on. And that's how we can make project successful by having the current and the real-time information. In this video, our discussion is focused on finding the position of monitoring and evaluation in project management phases. And the project management has 5 phases. Number 1 is project initiation, where the problem is identified and the proposals are written. The next phase is project planning and design, where all the plans and the project logical framework is established. This plan includes schedule plan, budget, human resource plan, the risk plan, and also quality plan. After that, having the plan, you proceed to executing the planned activities. And at this point, the aim is to have all the necessary steps that will result to deliverables. And you must monitor those activities closely, the results that are realized, so that you can control implementation of your project. And that is the key phase that will focus on throughout the course, because our course is on monitoring, evaluation, accountability, and learning. So this phase will form a key section or all the key bases for our discussion throughout the course. And the final phase is project closure. After implementing your activities well and realizing the final deliverables, now you come to conclusion where you close all the contract, the procurement, and then in the deliverable to the client or the customer, so that you can wind up the project. But note that phases don't happen following each other, as we have discussed above, but they sometimes interlock with each other. Some can happen at the same time, like when you are executing, you can monitor at the same time to control the activities or even to identify the gaps that need to be filled by replanning or taking a necessary action to take your project back to normal or control the future harm, if any. And that's about the phases and the position of monitoring and evaluation in project management phases.